Thank you very much for joining us here on The Voice of Job Seekers. This is your host, Mark, and we're back with another episode. If you want to know more about The Voice of Job Seekers, just go to thevoiceofjobseekers.com. You can listen to podcasts there. You can also read the articles that are there. And also, we're in iTunes, we're in Stitcher, and many other podcatchers, in the ones that you'd like to use for podcasts. This week, I have with me Nissar Ahamed. He is the founder of Career Metis, and you can find him at careermetis.com. That's CAREERMETIS.com. And his is a award-winning blog. He's won a couple of awards just real recently, and just want to congratulate him, of course. And he has done really well as far as having consistent content, at least from what I've seen over the past couple of years, 3 posts a week. So there's plenty there, everything from resume writing, cover letters to productivity. I want to welcome to the show Nissar. How are you, sir?
Mark, I'm doing very good. Thank you very much. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, thanks. Just enjoying the hiatus time that I have. And, of course, this is pre-recorded a little bit ahead of time. So those of you listening, we're recording this in August. So how's your summer so far?
It's been very well. It's been a good summer so far. I would say it's been very productive. It really helps when the sun is out. And since one of the things I write about is productivity, I'm a big believer. Bright days make productive days.
Absolutely.
So we have had this. I'm based in Toronto, so we have had the sun out most of the summer. So it's been a gorgeous summer, and personally, it has been very productive.
Yeah, great. Yeah, my son just got back from Toronto. He loved it. Him and his crew had a great time there. I haven't been there years. My wife and I are trying to make it back, and look forward to that visit for sure. So here's some things we should talk about, and one of the things I did want to talk to you about is definitely talk about your blog and how you came about the idea for it, and perhaps some of the ideas are the driving force behind it.
Sure, absolutely. I love talking about it. So I never had any intentions of starting a blog. I didn't even know anything about blogging or internet or social media. So this came about because a few years ago, I was going through a job transition. So I worked with some career coaches. They helped me with giving me a good understanding of what is required. And I was definitely successful at that point in securing a job that I liked. But since then, a lot of the people around me, my friends, my family, whenever they needed any advice, I was able to share the things that I learned with them, whether it's writing a proper resume, how to spicing up your LinkedIn profile, doing an effective interview. So over time, as I started sharing with a few friends, they suggested you should start writing about this. And that's how the whole idea came about. And I registered the domain back in 2013, and I really did not start actively constantly writing until June 2015. So even though the domain has been around for a while, it's been really active and only for the last 15 months. Mm-hmm. So that's my journey. It was very accidental. I was sharing my ideas, and people around me thought you should start writing it and put it in one place. And that's how the whole careermetis.com concept came about.
Yeah. So did you have any intentions at all to, you have a lot of guest authors, which is really cool to see, and some of them that I known and seen articles from in other places. Did you reach out to them, or did they reach out to you, or was it a combination of both?
It's a funny thing because, as I mentioned, I did not know anything about blogging or guest blogging. Mm-hmm. So I had some content out there. The website was live. All of a sudden, I got requests from a couple of guest bloggers, and they gave me great content, and it hit me. Wow, I mean, these people are writing amazing content for me, mm-hmm. and I get to post it on my website, and so that it started out that way. Then I then I thought to myself, if there must be a lot of other people out there whose skills and experience I can leverage, then I started doing an outreach campaign. I started reaching out to all bloggers, career bloggers in my network, actually such as yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
you have contributed a few articles to my blogs,
Yes.
and that's how it started. Then once more and more guest bloggers started to reply and they started posting, now I'm getting it got to a point where now people are again reaching out to me. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been a combination of both, but it started out once again. It's like the accidental thing. I never expected it. It came about, and I just started to capitalize on that one thing.
Right. And now you have a podcast that's found in iTunes and Stitcher.
Right. Yeah. It's called the Career Metis podcast.
Of course, that makes all the sense in the world. So, with your podcast, how is it complementing the content that you have already as articles?
So one thing I've learned by doing research and listening to individuals who have been successful in the internet world is content could be variety of things. It could be text, which is a post. It could be videos. It could be audio. And podcast was one of those things that just came to my mind because at the end of the day, it is still content that helps build the brand, links it back to the website. And I also found that sometimes if you wanted to pick someone's brains, it's better to have a chat with them than sending them a bunch of questions and then replying back. So it was a
Mm-hmm.
natural progression. As you mentioned, once it got to a point where I was consistently writing articles, consistently getting guest posts, I thought it would be a great compliment. So that is the
Mm-hmm.
on the blogging side. That was the reason to start the podcast. And on the personal side, I've always grown up as an introvert, a shy person. So this is like a challenge or a fear that I wanted to uh, put myself through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another reason I started doing it is let me test myself, let me challenge myself, let me get myself out there. And so the combination of personal and professional reasons is why I started the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. So, professionally, is that honing some skills that you've never used that's begin to complement your day job?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because you have 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and it becomes a natural conversation. And you're writing notes, you're talking to the other person, listening, responding back with more questions. So my full-time career, I work in software sales,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm on the phone most of the time. And it is important for me to speak, ask questions, uh, pay attention. So it's a great professional skill. It just hones my day job.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, once I started recording my podcast, I just realized I've never recorded my phone calls in my life before.
Mm-hmm.
And well, but the thing beauty about the podcast is you have to listen to yourself because it's being published.
Right.
I realized how fast I spoke before. I do have an accent, and sometimes when I speak too fast, the people listening or the person on the other end might not listen. So the podcast has made me very self-aware. It has slowed down my pace. It forces me to speak more clearly. So that was a benefit in itself on the professional side in helping me with my communication skills.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, if you don't mind, and I don't think I've ever asked you I've ever asked you this before, but could you give a little bit about your cultural background? And are you a native Canadian?
Sure, I'm happy to answer that. I'm based in Toronto, Canada, right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here for 11 years. I'm originally from India.
Mm-hmm.
So I came here 2005. So yeah, and that explains the accent, non-Canadian accent.
Right. Yeah. I just want to be sure that people had a little bit of context to that since you mentioned it. And
Sure.
and I think there might be something to really learn from this, and I didn't think about it before. So this is going to be a little deterrence from a tangent from our outline originally. But in landing in Canada, and of course, I'm sure you worked professionally in India. What were some of the adjustments and things that you had to learn culturally to work in Canada? Because I know a lot of times people they struggle for a long period of time
Mm-hmm.
after they arrive from any country, from one country to another. So, what are some things you learned about the job market that you learned professionally that people can learn from you?
So my situation was a little different, and I think you bring up a great point. A lot of people, when they migrate from another part of the world to the U.S. or Canada, they
Mm-hmm.
go through an adjustment period. Some people it's a few months, some people it's a few years, some people never adjust.
Mm-hmm.
So I came here as soon as I graduated from university. So for me, it was a little bit of a shock because I did graduate from a top end university in India, and there companies came to you. They came to the campus and did the recruitment.
Mm.
So you didn't necessarily have to worry about job boards or applying. They came, have an info session, they put you through the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I came here, there was nothing. So I came here just brand new. So I had to learn everything. Okay, that's when the internet. This was 2005. It was all online. Monster, Workopolis, Career Builder, applying to jobs, writing a resume, writing cover letters. It's everything I learned from reading books, going to the library, picking up a book,
Mm-hmm.
going to sessions. Going There are a lot of great resources for newcomers in Canada. You go there, they'll teach you all these things. So that's how I learned as well. So a little bit of learning came on the fly. So one thing about myself, I consider myself a heuristic learner, meaning I learn by doing, and that's
Mm-hmm.
how I learned initially. So yes, it was difficult. Yes, it was. Yeah, I had to make an adjustment. But once I got the first, second job and got going, it became sort of normal. That it became a part of who I am.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's and I think that's insight that I don't think we've had yet here on the show, and the
Hmm.
fact that internationally, when you're coming from another country to another, and you're used to a certain way, um, it's really important to be agile.
Hmm.
That you have to change the way that your outreach is to other jobs. That really the uh, it's on you and how you do it. So, you know, yeah, at one point in the U.S., it was real easy that way, and that was many, many years ago when I graduated from college, and that was a long time ago. But now you're having to do the reaching out, and I think people grow. Uh, as they grow in learning what it takes to be successful in the job markets and job markets to come, you've got to be ahead of the game.
Hmm.
If you waited till you got laid off or until you're fired, or when you're ready to quit, you've waited too late almost.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the reasons that motivates me to continue working on Career Metis because at the end of the day, it's on you. If you're looking for a career or a job, it's totally on you. It's your responsibility to make sure you learn, understand the market. Yeah, today there are. If you have built yourself a good brand, people will reach out to you. But
Sure.
until then, you have to take responsibility.
Absolutely. And, I think the brand building part, it has to be again, I can't help but to emphasize, I think, particularly with your story, how important the career agility is in that factor. I mean, there's going to be all types of changes.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you have to be agile enough and also be visible enough in order for you uh, to be seen as somebody that can, change and pivot with the times, with the circumstances, and with the changes of industry.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of, and I think we talked a little bit last time we talked on the phone about, you know, the motivation behind people being underappreciated at their job, which is very much a reason why most people these days, right now, are really starting to migrate or looking for other jobs. And some people have just gone as far as, I'm going to quit before I even get the next job. Just want to get your ideas on how to go from underappreciated to, you know, starting to find your way and becoming marketable for the next move that you need to make.
That's a very good question, and I think I wish I can give you a straightforward answer, but I think I'd like to break it down into two different types of underappreciation.
Sure.
And the reason is because when the context behind this is you can go to a company and ask two people, both of them will give you different answers
Hmm.
or any different career. So the first um, differentiation I would say in terms of being underappreciated is real underappreciation. For example, this has happened to me. I'm sure this happens to a lot of people. Recently, 2008, 2009, we had a global economic crisis,
Hmm.
massive layoffs, and what happened is companies started being acquired, cultures change, and it's a culture of fear, and all of a sudden a lot of the employers um, use that as an advantage because they realize, okay, these employees are here for the job, they cannot easily go anywhere, so let's maximize and let's get as much as we can get out of them. So
Hmm.
I've been there. I used to work at a company which I really enjoyed. I mean, a job I really enjoyed. I was there for a long time. It got acquired by a major global bank, and the culture changed. Completely changed. It changed from customers, employees to stockholders only. Everybody else rest. And I'm sure
Hmm.
you've heard about this, Mark, and anybody listening over and over again. So that is real underappreciation. In that scenario, what I would advise or recommend is recently someone told me this: you only have one life, so it's up to you to make yourself that, and your job is really takes up majority of your waking hours. So if you're miserable, if you don't like where you are, then you're not doing yourself any huge favors. So if you're in that situation where there is real underappreciation, then the best thing to do is clean up your resume, start looking passively or actively as you have a job. And personal experience I can share. I've done that. The next move or the move after was great. I'm happy.
Hmm.
So we're talking about the first one, real underappreciation of what to do. And the second thing is it's fun. It's interesting because I call it perceived underappreciation.
Hmm.
I'm sure you have met people, or we all have friends who always complain about their jobs. But if you go back to their offices and ask anybody else, they're all happy, they're excited. So this could be a variety of reasons. It could be personal. You're not taking care of how you're working, your health, or the environment is. It's very demanding, but it's challenging. So sometimes you start doubting yourself, especially when you're tired, when you feel stressed. You start blaming external circumstances instead of fixing your behavior. You start looking, oh, this I don't like my boss, I don't like the job, I don't
Right.
like the commute, and all that. So this is all falls under perceived under appreciation. So in that scenario, before I mean, some like I said, the first if the first scenario, it's real under appreciation. Work environments are toxic, but examine your work environment. If it is not toxic, everyone else is enjoying themselves, then it is on you. Do some self reflection. Actually, also take a moment to be grateful. There might be a lot of things that you enjoy about that job, a feeling of gratitude. Um, yeah, the commute may be 1 hour, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe you love reading, and the commute allows you to read, and you don't have to worry about traffic. The boss is demanding, and you know what? You're learning so much, you're becoming more promotable. So if you change your mindset and your behaviors, you can switch that around. And probably the gold mine that you're looking for is right where you are.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the things that you exemplify, and I think you do now, is that there are things that you prioritize, and if you know you're going to need to change your situation, one, we've already established already, be ahead of the game. Always consider yourself ready to be transient as far as your career is concerned. Maybe that may be a physical thing. It may be more of a changing careers completely. But I think one of the things that you talk about on your blog, like you said,
Mhm.
productivity and how to make the best use of your time. So the travel from the train, the lunch times, the times you get home, manage your family or manage your personal life, and but mostly, really, I think people like you and I, we're trying to maximize every moment that we possibly can during the day,
Mhm.
except for what we have allotted for time to relax or whatever. Even though even that has
Oh yeah, I
become
can relate
a
to that.
pretty skimpy
Absolutely.
time. Yeah, but fortunately, I have a wife who understands, and we've already done our part in raising children and things like that. So we don't have that type of dynamic to worry about as much as we do now. But I think there are those who do have small children or have growing families, and the kids are growing up. That's when it's really really tough, and I think those are people that have the hardest time trying to manage and navigate
Mhm.
the their careers. So I think definitely I appreciate too, and I think everybody should go and read some of the productivity posts that are on Nissar's uh, site, and I think you'll get a lot of insight there, and I think you might even see a little bit of what he was talking about as far as the example he just gave. So. Nissar, I appreciate you spending some time with us here at the Voice of Job Seekers. Again, the blog is Career Metis, and that's CareerMetis.com. You'll find that.
Yeah,
And can
absolutely.
people reach out to you on
I
social
am
media?
on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. It's actually very simple. It's twitter.com/Career Metis, facebook.com/Career Metis, or even the website. It'll be a great place to start. My contact information is there. It's as you said,
Mm-hmm.
there's, people can subscribe to the newsletter. There's a lot of resources, a lot of ways to reach me through the blog.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us here. We'll be sure to put all of that in the show notes for you. In the meantime, thank you very much for listening to Voice of Job Seekers. If you want to contact me, you can go to voiceofjobseekers.com, press the speak button on the right-hand side of your screen, and you can leave a message right there, or you can use the traditional methods of calling me at 708-365-9822, or you can text me there. It'll also be in the show notes and also in the description on iTunes and Stitcher. You can also email me at mark@thevoiceofjobseekers.com. In the meantime, thank you very much, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.